Boy, oh boy. At some point, you just gotta laugh. In the grim comedy of life comes a story so tragic and disheartening that it really gets you wondering what this guy might have done to piss off the hockey gods that be. Because today, we are talking about one of the biggest trade acquisition failures that we've probably seen in a long time, and a guy that, for the Buffalo Sabres, is looking like a total tragedy. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking today about former Ottawa Senator Josh Norris and the situation that has been bestowed upon him as a member of the Buffalo Sabres in 2025-2026. Now, Norris, for all accounts, he's a good player, right? Initially a San Jose Sharks draft pick that was sent over to Ottawa in the first Erik Karlsson trade. It was a really big deal, and a lot of folks, myself included, were hopping on this train saying, yeah, look at that, the Sens won the Erik Karlsson trade. They got Josh Norris, they got this draft pick that became Tim Stützle, they had all these really great things coming their way, and Norris was so good in the NCAA, and he inevitably became a very strong Ottawa Senator post his AHL and NCAA development, and lo and behold, Josh Norris scored himself 35 goals in 66 games in 21-22. He did that at the ripe old age of 22 years old. So, there's a lot of excitement for Norris in the future. But the problem is, the guy could not stay healthy. 8 games played in 22-23, 50 games played in 23-24, 53 games played in 24-25 with Ottawa, before he gets traded over to Buffalo in the Dylan Cozens trade. And the trade was quite interesting, because the Buffalo Sabres, not only did they trade away Dylan Cozens for Norris, but they also traded away Denis Gilbert and a 2026 second-round pick. Now, as we had spoken about in the previous video, the Sabres didn't just get Norris. They also got Jacob Bernard-Docker, who became a free agent and signed in Detroit. But thinking about what the Senators received, they got rid of Norris, who was injury-prone and not really all too useful in the lineup, plus JBD, who at one point was a top prospect in their system, for Dylan Cozens, which is a really nice, physical, strong pickup for them, and a second-round pick. Meanwhile, Buffalo Sabres fans were saying, okay, well, Cozens is now gone after all the months of trade speculation and rumors saying that this guy was going to leave. Now he's out, and the Sabres got Norris, which is going to be great because he can score, he can add an element of sniping to this team that doesn't really exist outside of Tuck and Thompson, so that's going to be great, right? Well, Josh Norris played a game this season, and he got hurt again. And now it's been revealed by Buffalo Sabres head coach Lindy Ruff that Norris will miss a significant amount of time. That's the wording that was used there, a significant amount of time. And now we're seeing some replies saying, oh, Buffalo has the worst luck. Ottawa won the trade, and that's not a good sign for the Sabres. This dude's position should be changed from center to LTIR. Whoever approved this trade on the Sabres end needs to be fired straight into the sun. Steve Staios, GM of the Year, Exhibit A. Ottawa totally fleeced for Dylan Cozens as Josh Norris is never healthy, always on the LTIR. And it's kind of sadistic, really, to look at this situation with Norris and just start clowning around on the Buffalo Sabres because of how he's gotten hurt again. I mean, I don't think anybody would have wagered a bet saying that he's going to get hurt this early into the new season, But now that he did get hurt, it feels like, man, of course this would have happened. Like, was there any other outcome possible? Maybe at the beginning of the year, folks would have hoped and maybe even guessed that the 35-goal guy in 60-something games still exists and he was going to go out there and replicate that as long as he had a good, solid start. But he didn't have that. And now we're going to be waiting a while a long while for Josh Norris to come back, and it's starting to look even more tragic when you think about Buffalo, what they gave up to get this guy, and the fact that the Sabres are just so cheeks this year. I mean, they've been cheeks most years, but like, this year it feels especially bad. You've got fans outside the arena yelling and screaming about how they were 6 years old the last time the Buffalo Sabres made the playoffs, how these fans are literally adults now. It's been so long since the Sabres have made the playoffs, let alone actually been competitive. It's been years, over a decade, of madness for the Buffalo Sabres where they're not able to get out of that hump. They're always drafting near the top of the draft, but the guys they take don't end up staying on their team for any significant amount of time. You traded away Ryan O'Reilly, you traded away Sam Reinhart, you traded away Jack Eichel, traded away Casey Mittelstadt. Owen Power's name was in trade rumors too. That guy could potentially be out and about. But Josh Norris was one of the main dudes that was supposed to fix that. And this significant amount of time update really spells tragedy for both parties involved. Now who's going to be the number one center? Now, for what it's worth, you do have Ottawa Senators fans going out there and saying that, yeah, like, he's cursed, feel really bad for the guy, like, he can't catch a break, and that's all true. Like, as much as we dog on the Sabres, it is difficult to fully blame a player getting hurt on the management team that acquired the player, but at the same time, it's like, you knew this guy was so injury-prone, and you made the trade anyway. He got injured at the end of last season. That's why he didn't play all the games after getting acquired. It's rinse and repeat over and over again for Josh Norris, and I think at some point, Buffalo Sabres fans have to either admit to pulling the plug on what has been a failure of a retool or a rebuild. Might have to say goodbye to Alex Tuch. Maybe that guy's going to be out soon. Maybe say goodbye to Dahlin if that guy's going to want to stick around. I mean, I know he's signed long term, so he might not have a choice if the Sabres decide that for him. But at this point, you just got to admit that anything could be possible for the Buffalo Sabres. And that's tragic. This Josh Norris situation stings, and now this is the third video in 2 days that we've made about Buffalo being bad or being in a bad enough position that they might be trading away some guys. What does the future hold in store for Bowen Byram? What's Josh Norris really going to look like by the time this season ends up? How many goals does he score? How many games does he play? At what point do we start thinking that Josh Norris's NHL career could seriously be in jeopardy here? Now, the point is at the moment, it's not, which is why I feel not terribly bad to make a video like this talking about the tragedy that has been his last few years, but compiled with the Buffalo Sabres and their legacy of failure in this same time frame, it just makes for the ultimate smoothie of disappointment and disillusioned expectations and frustration all around. The Buffalo Sabres have got to change something, whether that's the owner, the GM, or the coaching, or whatever. I mean, they've changed everything except for the owner so many times, and it's the same story out and about, rinse and repeat. The cycle continues, so at what point do you have to say, man, it seriously is the owner that's prohibiting this hockey team's ability to string together any positive results, any consistent dubs in a row. Oh boy, man, the Buffalo Sabres, I cannot even begin to try and sympathize with how this fan base feels. I thought my fan base in Vancouver was down bad. Buffalo's might be even worse. At least we've had playoffs in Vancouver. So, with this in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the Josh Norris situation and how that's gone down in Buffalo? If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. If you didn't, the dislike button's down there for you as well. Comments help out with the algorithm, so I'd appreciate it if you got involved there. I hope you enjoyed this video. Troll 9, and bye.